Now the Countryman is one of the larger Minis, and it is here very well equipped. And it's not cheap. Price as you see it here, you're looking at $39,000 and change. But if you are looking for a Mini and you want a plug-in hybrid, this is the car you've been waiting for. This is the 2018 Mini Cooper S E Countryman ALL4. Under that charismatic hood is a powertrain we've seen before. And that motor isn't bad, but it's not why you would buy this car. You see, that's a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. And by itself, it only gets about 27 mpgs, which isn't fantastic. The point of a PHEV, or plug-in electric hybrid, is that you can drive it in electric-only mode. And here, you get about 12 miles. To compare that to other PHEVs, it's really not great. The Toyota Prius Prime has an all-electric range of 25 miles, and the Hyundai Ioniq even better at 29. If you do need to charge up the batteries and only have a standard socket available, a level 1 charger is included in the surprisingly spacious trunk. It even has some additional room under a false floor. Seats up and you have 17.2 cubic feet of storage. Fold down the second row and you get a total of 47.4 cubic feet. With this hybrid version of the Mini, you only lose a couple of inches thanks to smart packaging of the batteries under the cushions. Even with those extra batteries, a full-size adult still fits easily. They even get their own vents. But sadly, that's pretty much all you get in the back. Inside the Mini Countryman is kind of what you would expect, honestly, from Mini. It's kind of goofy. We have lots and lots and lots of circles. They are obsessed with circles. First off, the steering wheel, perfectly circular. Not surprising, but some people do go with the cut bottoms. Mini decided not to do that. However, it is a very simple design that I actually rather like because they isolate the number of features to 2 sets of buttons. They don't have buttons all over the place. That said, it is very clear that they don't have adaptive cruise control or any of those kind of advanced safety features based on there are no switches for them. So they're just not even here. More circles here in the middle with this nav system. They light up, they change. It's basically, as my kids pointed out, it's a party in the car, no matter where you're going. The lights change. I don't know what they mean. Maybe they mean something, or maybe they're just random. Like right now, the right side is illuminated, probably because the door is open for the camera. That actually might make sense. But most of the time, it's a combination of purples and blues and greens just kind of going on everywhere here. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying this is an interior for a very particular kind of buyer. Somebody who wants something that's fun, but isn't always 100% clear all the time. I mean, start switch. Normally you have a button here or a button here or something. Well, this one, it's a toggle right down here. And next to it, we have more toggles. E-Drive, which lets me change the settings of the different drive modes for the car. We have Max E-Drive for maximum electric power. Auto, where it auto switches it. And then I can even save batteries so that if later I want to go all battery, say I live in a very quiet community and I want to drive around town and then come back and run on electric only, I have to save the battery to do that. That's an option there. So how does this PHEV powertrain really work? Up front, you'll find the same internal combustion 1.5-liter, 134 horsepower, 3-cylinder turbo found in the base Countryman. That engine drives the front wheels exclusively. But wait, isn't this an all-wheel drive car? Well, yeah, that's where the electric motor comes in. The rear axle gets exclusive motivation from an 89 horsepower electric motor. So the upside here is that when driving in electric-only mode, the Mini Cooper Countryman PHEV is essentially a rear-wheel drive car. And you can power it without gas for up to speeds of 77 miles per hour, which is pretty impressive. But disappointment sets in when you realize you only have 12 miles of range when this car is at its best. Now that we got that covered, let's go back into the cabin and talk about some more Mini weirdness. There's also a heads-up display on this car, and the switch is down here as well. Hit this, and the heads-up display goes away. Bye-bye. And then I hit it again, and it opens. Now, the only thing I have to say about that, it looks like it's really complicated and it's just begging to break. It just is. I do prefer heads-up display to be on the glass. Even Mazda's little flip-up just seems a little fussy to me. This one is kind of a more complicated version of that. Not my favorite thing. And honestly, I'm so tall, I'm actually looking down on it and it's projecting it onto between the hood and the windshield. So it's not even an optimal placement because honestly, a heads-up display should keep your head up, not down. More circles for the gauge cluster. 0 to 160, we have a E boost gauge on the left. We have this really, really vibrant fuel gauge. They want you to know how much fuel is in there, which is probably because this has such a tiny gas tank. It's less than 10 gallons. So long distance driving, yeah, not what this is really about. This is all about commuting, I think. Overall, the design isn't bad. It's just weird. And again, for somebody who wants this kind of a vehicle, it's actually built very well. It's a very competent weirdness because you have all these little indents here that are very nicely done. The seams are very consistent, and even the choice of plastics are all very high quality. So again, weird does not mean that it is built badly. It's just strange. I don't know if I can say that enough. Weird, 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 weird. More circles down here with the aircon. Oh, look at that. It lights up the middle circle. What? It's like a party. Okay, so that's exciting. For those who don't know, Mini is owned by BMW. I think everybody knows that, but just in case you don't know, this is basically a BMW X1 in a much weirder package. So moving along, we have seat warmers. Oddly enough, not round buttons. They're just normal toggles that you would find on any car. That's kind of weird. Anyway, moving on, we also have independent aircon on both sides. Oh, look at that. It changes the color disc again. Boy, it just keeps doing that. That's a little surprising. Up here for lights, yeah, more toggles. In here, we have a big touchscreen. Now, when I first sat down here, I just didn't think it was a touchscreen, just because it's so weird. I keep saying that word, but it's true. Now, it's an ultra-wide display, and it does give me a split screen option so that I can have some data on the right, some on the left. Not terribly intuitive, to be honest. Again, they went with that circular design theme, which is just all over the place. I'm assuming I'll click the car because I think that's car setup, probably. It is a multi-touch, so I can push and pull. I don't know when things end, though. Like on an iPad, it kind of goes... This one, I'm not sure if it's not registering my inputs or it just decided that I'm at the end of the list. Pretty much means I'm at the end of the list, but it would be nice to give me some kind of indication as such. That's particularly strange when going on music and I want to see status on the right side display. How do I do this? I go over, click the right arrow, and then I can... This is really kind of strange. It doesn't really flip the screen. I have to go all the way to the top. If I don't go high enough, it snaps it back and it doesn't take my input. So anyway, back here. Now let's go from here. I can do navigation. Let's go ahead and find a new destination. Let's look for a point of interest. Do a keyword search. Now this is where they pull some of that tech from BMW, and then I can just write what I want down here. And there we go. Or I could use the toggle and find all the letters if I want. Let's go ahead and toggle to the right, or I can touch the screen up there, and we'll pick the one in Redmond, which is 1.5 miles away from where we're currently at. Navigation, very easy, simple to use. It actually is really high quality graphics, gives a pseudo 3D effect, very clean, and fairly responsive for not being a uber high luxury vehicle. Although, granted, $40,000, not terribly cheap, that's for sure. Down here, if we move the shifter into reverse, we get a nice rear view camera. And because this one is equipped with parking sensors, as you can hear, it shows that there's something behind us. In drive mode, we shift over here and we can go full manual, or it'll shift more aggressively in sport mode as well. This is a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is kind of funny. Most electric car makers are going with CVT, constantly variable transmissions. But they opted not to in this one for whatever reason. So it has a very interesting design ideology. It has a heads-up display that I'm not particularly fond of, and it only has 12 miles range in pure electric mode. How is it to drive, though? Maybe that'll sway me. The Countryman may be physically rather small for a crossover, but the price, yeah, that's not very tiny. You're looking at $39,700 for this model that we're testing today. And what do you get for that? Nice seats, you get a touchscreen navigation system, get this flip-up heads-up display, and you get the gray paint. Do you get collision mitigation? Nope. Blind spot warning? Nope, doesn't have that either. In fact, this doesn't have any active safety tech, which most other cars in this price range are going to have. Heck, you can get a base trim Corolla, and that even comes with collision mitigation as standard. So that is an area that they could certainly improve on. If you jump to the signature or iconic trim levels, then you do get collision mitigation. However, you're looking at a huge price jump for those. An additional $3,000 for signature, and iconic, yeah, that's $8,000 more. As an added bonus for iconic buyers, you also get Apple CarPlay. Yeah, you got to spend at least $44,000 on a Countryman PHEV to get CarPlay. That seems to me a little excessive. In fact, at that point, you might as well just be looking at like the BMW X2.
Now, speaking of the X2, it's pretty much the same size as this mini Countryman. And though it's not available with a fancy PHEV drivetrain, it is a lot more fun to drive all the time. So if you want a BMW that has room for cargo, a decent 7.2 inches of ground clearance, and style for days, the baby Beamer is probably a better choice. It also starts at $36,400 or $38,400 if you want all-wheel drive. That said, you can save money by buying the Mini, since there might be up to $4,000 in tax credits thanks to the green nature of this PHEV.
One thing I do really like about PHEVs is that the power comes on immediately. I press the throttle, the electric drivetrain engages, and whoosh, I'm away. That is because electric motors have 100% of their torque at 0 RPM. They're the exact opposite of gas engines. So the benefit here is at 0, I have the electric to thrust me forward. Then, as I pick up speed, say on the freeway, the gas motor takes over for acceleration. Now that's actually a little bit of a downer in this car because it's only a 3-cylinder turbo. So if you want to do any quick passing from, say, 60 to 80, it's a little bit of a struggle. At the lower speeds, that's where this car really excels. Okay, let's go ahead and try a 0 to 60 here. Going to come to a complete stop. We're going to go into pure max E-drive. We're going to switch this into sport. Full sport. 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, that took a little while to go. Whoa, kicks in at 20, and 40, and 60. You know, it got to 40 really quickly. It was at 40 to 60 pole where it's transitioning from the electric to the gas, where it kind of took a little longer than one would really hope. So again, great for around town, low speed motoring. It's got a lot of torque. It has that great turn in, really good feel. However, high speed, yeah, this isn't the car for you. Get a John Cooper Works instead. It also excels in handling. The steering inputs on this vehicle are classic Mini. Turn-in is instantaneous, and that feel back through the wheel is exactly what you would expect. Now the downside, it's the brakes. I'll demonstrate. Nothing, everything. Ugh. Yeah, this uses a regenerative braking system like all PHEVs. The problem with this one is that it basically does nothing for the first 10% of the brake travel, and then it goes all on. So it's really difficult to vary the brake pressure as you're coming into corners. So if you're coming to a complete stop, you kind of rip your face off, and if you're trying to vary your speed through a corner, you get a lot of this kind of stop-go back and forth, which unbalances the vehicle. I think that's something that definitely need to work on in the next version of this car. I'm really surprised there's not a pure electric Mini yet, because honestly, that first generation Mini is a perfect candidate for all electric. It's small, it's cute, it has great personality, great handling. If you were to put an electric only drivetrain, it would kill. Instead, BMW, yeah, they throw it into the goofy looking i3, which I actually like, but when people say they don't like it, I totally agree. It's just a weird looking car with little pizza cutter wheels. However, if they took that drivetrain and put it into a first generation Mini, that would be fantastic. Driving this Countryman gives me a small taste of what they could accomplish. I just hope that they actually take that all the way. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time right here. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe for more videos. We have a lot more coming up.